Rate nationwide hit more than 10% in some places last week. Here in Texas, it is right about 8%. So the question then becomes, if you don't have a college degree, is it tougher to get a job, or can you even get a job? Linda Ginac is here, Master Career Architect, CEO of the Ginac Group, by the way, so they advise a lot of people on this. We'll apologize beforehand for her voice. She's in the throes of allergies, so
yes.
if something happens, that's the problem. Well, I guess Texas has escaped a little bit better than the rest of the country.
We have done a lot better than the rest of the country, but when you start thinking about, and we're a very educated city, and so sometimes we'll get people who will come into the office who don't have a college education, and they don't want to work, you know, some of the jobs that other people don't want to work, and they have lots of experience. And so, you know, as they're going through these transitions, they're trying to figure out, how can I make this leap? Because sometimes they've grown up in the company where the degree wasn't as important for their first job, but it is now. So when you make those transitions, it becomes a lot harder, and people have a lot more lack of self-confidence when they want to make the change.
What kind of jobs are we talking about?
Oh, you could be talking anything from the head of engineering and marketing to you know, somebody who's working in customer support. So one of the things that we advise is that you really talk up your experience. I mean, that's crucial. On your resume, sometimes what we'll do is we'll put testimonials or references right in the actual body of the cover letter or the resume, so that speaks volumes about the contributions that you've made to an organization. The other thing that we do is, if you have learning in progress, you know, with the stimulus money, a lot of people are able to go back and pursue either certificates or degrees that they hadn't been able to before. So if you're learning in progress, put it on your resume or cover letter, or let people know that you have taken steps to improve.
At least you're showing some insanity.
Exactly, your skill set. And then finally, you know, there's something to be said about life experience. And sometimes I'll tell people, you know, if you'd like to go back to school, you should, because you might be able to get credit for all that life experience, and you might not have to go as long as you originally thought.
I never thought of that. Okay. Are you seeing more and more people in situations like this?
You know, I think we've seen a steady flow since we've been in business. It's not kind of more or less, but what's happening is we're seeing the people who traditionally weren't being laid off, who were let go, and it rises to the surface. And
they haven't had to go through this process in a while.
Exactly. It might be their first time. Right.
Do they ever try and talk you into things like, Linda, look, I've got it, and you're going, well and good, but an employer's not going to look at that. That kind of stuff? You get a lot of things. As we're going through and we're learning about people's background, they'll go, I'll tell you this, but I really don't want to tell the employer, you know, something else. And I'm thinking, you know, you got to be honest in your resume, in your communications, because if they find out it just looks poorly on you, and, you know, there are consequences for that. Well, these employers aren't stupid, and if they get somebody that's a potential candidate, they're definitely going to talk to you.
Right. I mean, and it's happening all over. I mean, we had a case where it actually happened with the CEO, where he was employed, said he graduated, and some things came out, and he actually didn't have any degrees. So it's not just with, you know, people would just say, oh, that's just going to be for, you know, more blue-collar-ish type workers. It's happening all across the board. Blue collar, white collar.
Get caught with something like that, aren't you?
What? Hey, it comes around.
Well, especially if you're recommending somebody like that, and went, excuse me, you weren't quite honest with me about that. All right, it's going to catch up with them. How can they get a hold of you if they need some advice?
We suggest you go to www.ginacgroup.com.